The daily grind takes on a whole new meaning when the staff at Silverking Soya get down to business. The grassroots organization first got started in Caslow before making its permanent home in Nelson, which is where current owner Jeff Mock first got his start on the tofu factory floor.
Well, I got involved by accident, literally. I was in a bad car accident in 1989, and that was about the year that Greg Lund moved his business from Caslow down to Nelson. He moved it onto Silverking's road, and he called it Silverking Soya Foods. And I started working for him right after this accident. I couldn't do a lot. He hired me to wash the shop after they'd made tofu every day. So I had this little job 2 days a week washing buckets in Greg's tofu shop.
And now, 25 years later, Jeff is the owner-operator of Silverking Soya, where organic tofu is the star. The tofu titan was able to turn the small business into a commercially viable operation, producing approximately 1,000 to 1,200 pounds of tofu per week in the small production facility.
To make a 30 to 32 pound batch of tofu, we use about 17.5 pounds, 18 pounds of dry beans. They soak overnight in water and swell to about twice their size. So the actual weight that we measure out when we're making tofu is about 38 pounds of beans.
This is the start of our process. Actually, the process starts the night before when Jeff comes in and soaks the soybeans. You can see from the line at the top how full the tank was when I arrived this morning, and then we work all day long until there isn't a bean left. So each batch is carefully weighed and rinsed. After it gets weighed and rinsed, then it gets ground. And this is what you see here is the finished product. After being ground, it turns into this slurry. And it's nice, thick, beautiful, lovely looking mess. And from here it gets pulled into the pressure cooker. The pressure cooker is our workhorse. It sets our relentless pace all day long. As soon as it's empty, we fill it up. So after the pressure cooker is done, it gets what we call blatted, and we put this heavy-duty straining cloth on it. The cloths come all the way from Japan, so it makes us feel very authentic. And then it gets signaled out into this soy milk. So once this is done, and you can see that it's just a nice, very hot vat of soy milk, we add a coagulant, magnesium phosphate, and we add it to the soy milk, and it turns into curds and whey. So anyone who's familiar with cheese making will recognize this process. And this is really nice. It's lovely, it's light, it's loose, it's big fluffy clouds of curds and whey. When the whey is drained off, this is reduced to about half, and the curds get carefully placed into this form and then pressed with our beautiful pneumatic press. And after about 15 minutes, it's good to go. Cover up. Form gets taken off, and each batch is weighed to find out whether it is a perfect regular. From here, it gets cut up and cooled and dropped into the tank, and after that, it gets put into buckets and goes to so many restaurants in Nelson or into packages, individual packages for sale in retail outlets. And that's the process.
The local tofu producer makes 5 different flavors of the soybean delight, which include a herb, a hot, a curry, a mushroom, and a seaweed tofu, along with the tube textures available being regular and firm.
The texture is really important in tofu. You want a nice smooth texture, not crumbly. I guess smoothness and then firmness. You got to have a certain amount of firmness so that Well, at least with my tofu. I know there are really soft dessert tofus that people make, and my tofu's, and the North American palate seems to be for a firmer tofu.
Silverking Soya organic tofu is served in a number of local Nelson restaurants and can be found at local markets in Nelson, Castlegar, Trail, and the Okanagan. Christina Krichkowski, Shaw TV, Nelson.